Dr. Carlito Bunda from the New Era University ASEAN Studies Center. And today we are honored to have as our studio guest here, Dr. Aaron Jadrabena, who is a program convener of the Asia Pacific Pathways to Peace. Okay, and he's also an associate fellow of the Philippine Council for Foreign Relations and a member of the Asia Society Organization of the Philippines. He finished his doctoral study in international relations at the Shandong University in the People's Republic of China. Good afternoon, Dr. Aaron.
Good afternoon, Sir Kaloy.
Okay.
My pleasure to be here, sir.
Okay, it's a pleasure also. A few days from now, President Xi Jinping of China will be coming to the Philippines for his first state visit.
That's right.
As President of the People's Republic of China. So what do you expect from this visit? What should we expect from this visit?
Well, sir, I think number one is that we will see major projects, infrastructure projects that will be signed. I think one of which is the Manila-Bicol, the railway project.
Yes, yes.
The South Rail project, sir. And I think apart from this, there are also other controversial projects that might be signed. For example, sir, the third telco player in the Philippines.
So we're actually expecting a Chinese telco player to come here?
Well, this is just a possibility,
okay,
sir, that may be done, because the visit may also be full of surprises.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's one. So another one would be, let's say, perhaps a consensus on a joint exploration in the South China Sea or West Philippine Sea. So I think we can look up to these things. And I guess another one, sir, would be whether both leaderships, both the Philippine and Chinese leaderships, would decide to deepen the state of diplomatic ties to a strategic partnership.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we don't have a strategic partnership with China yet?
Not yet, sir.
Among the 10 ASEAN member states, I think it's only the Philippines who does not have a strategic partnership.
That's
with
right,
China.
sir. Yeah.
What's a strategic partnership in the first place?
Well, sir, to China's definition, a strategic partnership is basically a broad-based relationship where you have in-depth exchanges and relationship in terms of the diplomatic, economic, political, defense, and socio-cultural relations. So right now, I guess our economic, things are moving up, sir, since President Duterte was elected. So I think to further cement this momentum, I guess both leaderships may decide to really call it a strategic partnership.
Okay, and his visit comes in the heels of a announcement from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of China that they have established a weather station.
Yes, some weather-related facilities. They have started to activate
the
them.
Spratlys Island.
The
And
Spratlys, yeah.
everybody knows that portion of the South Pacific is being claimed by the Philippines. So
it is disputed.
It is disputed by the Philippines. So what can you say about this? I mean, and there's a statement from Malacanang that they will file a diplomatic protest once they confirm that China has really established these facilities. When in fact, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs has already said that we have established these facilities and this will soon be operational. So what's your take on this?
Well, so I think as per the statement of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, they wanted to show that these facilities that they built are now meant for public goods.
Okay,
and
it can
services.
be used by everybody.
Yes, so by everybody or for everybody. And
But
I
it's
think
operated by China.
Operated by China, so that's right.
Yeah.
So I think one way of explaining this, sir, is that China might be, they might be trying to redeem themselves from the negative publicity that they gained in the past, because they reclaimed islands, which was against international law. They militarized them, and now they're saying that they want to provide public goods.
Yes.
So it seems that China wants to reverse this negative publicity or negative image that they gained.
Do you think that's possible, given that the mere occupancy of that feature in the South China Sea is it's a declaration that we own this? So is that even possible?
Well, so I think right now we can look at what China will do in the coming days. Let's see if they will help us in our navigational safety. Let's see if they will help us, our fishermen. Let's see if they will really engage in HADR, humanitarian assistance and disaster relief, and search and rescue operation.
Yes, yes.
So we have yet to see that, sir.
Okay, through the years, the Philippines' perception of China is not really that positive, although we see it from the latest SWS survey that from negative 40 something about 3 years ago. It has now improved to positive. It's now in the positive territory, but still less than 10, and still far, still way off the impression of Filipinos of the U.S., which is about 80% positive. So what do you expect will be the reaction of the Filipinos towards this visit of Xi Jinping?
Well, sir, I guess it will be a mixture of skepticism and optimism. I guess optimism that China would really show its good faith to us, that we can really handle, manage the disputes in the South China Sea while moving forward with the pragmatic aspect of the relationship. So again, we will really see, sir, if in the coming days they will, do things in parallel, so that we will see a consistency.
Another comment on the Philippine relationship with China is, of course, last year or 2 years ago, when President Duterte visited China, he signed all of these agreements with China for the implementation of many projects. But if you read the accounts in the media, no such projects has been
not taken off.
They've not taken off. So what can you say about this?
Well, sir, actually, number one, I guess, sir, it takes time for these projects to really materialize, especially, in our bureaucracy. You really have to conduct very meticulous studies on these projects, because we already have bad precedents.
Okay.
I remember that in the case of during the time of GMA.
Yes, the North Rail
we had the
project.
NDA, North Rail. So I think for both sides, sir, our political leadership and the Chinese leadership cannot afford to again lose face. Yeah. So everybody has to be careful, make sure that things are done properly, and especially, sir, that internationally, there's a lot of coverage about the Chinese projects or the Belt and Road projects
are becoming debt traps.
Debt traps, yeah. So we really have to make sure that these projects are viable, that they will really redound to our interests.
So you're very positive that all of these projects will really redound to our interests, and there will be no repeat of the negative experiences we had before.
Yes, right. Yeah, I think the government is going the right way. Sir,
okay, so you're the China expert here.
Just an observer, sir.
We still have this, Filipinos still look at China in a very negative light. So what should be done? What should China do more?
So you mentioned about the negativity,
yes.
Negative impression of Filipinos towards China. Well, I think, although it has already improved, sir, but China needs to do more. Yeah,
such as?
And we also have to, do more inquiry about China. So right now, sir, you see, you don't see so much cheap China-made goods anymore. China is now moving up the value chain. If you take a look at the brands such as Huawei,
yeah.
Xiaomi, Oppo, Vivo, this is the face of the new China.
Of the new China.
And so gone are the days that China is just about food or cheap products. So China is now changing, sir.
But you see negative coverage of China, particularly Chinese tourists. How should the Chinese government address this, especially now? More Chinese tourists are coming here. I read in one article that the reason why real estate prices have skyrocketed here in the Philippines because
they're on a buying spree here.
Yeah, they have a buying spree here, and so this results in this further fuels the negative impression about China. So what should China do, and what should our Philippine media do?
Well, I guess for China, sir, what explains the negative attitude, sir, of the tourists? When they go out, is that China recently just opened up, sir. And so there are some people in China who really weren't oriented with the Western ways or the Western behaviors or norms, and so that's why when they go out of China, they're not so accustomed to how they should behave in those countries.
Protocols.
The protocols, the etiquette. But actually, sir, the Chinese government already made an announcement on this. The Chinese government said that when you guys go out, you have to behave. These are the guidelines. Because if not, we will ban you either from, I think, from getting, from renewing their passports. And yeah, they will be blacklisted, sir. So they will be punished. Because it is giving China, sir, a negative image. It is harming. So if you, if you know, I mean, or you know the soft power, the concept of soft power. And it's not good for China, sir. Because they want to build their image.
Overall, what do you expect from this deepening China-RP relationship? It's for the good of both countries.
Well, so that's true, but along the way, sir, there are risks. There's many opportunity for us, sir, to capitalize on, because we badly need infrastructural assistance. But at the same time, sir, I mean, we have to avoid the mistakes of the past. And you know, knowing that there is this international coverage of failed projects.
So China is more careful now.
Yeah, so we both have to be careful, sir.
Health is our most important.
When visiting the Philippines, Manila or Quezon City is a popular destination. But oftentimes the hustle and bustle of the city can be more stressful on your vacation. So when you feel the need to reconnect to nature or relax again, there's a beautiful oasis just outside of the city called the Garden at Ciudad de Victoria. Some of the species that you can see here include hydrangea, snapdragon, and stargazers. They're truly beautiful. The gardens at Ciudad de Victoria are so peaceful, tranquil, and beautiful that it's become a haven for young couples and a very popular venue for engagement photos. The next time you want an escape from the big city, the garden at Ciudad de Victoria is a wonderful place to visit.
Okay, we're back with our interview with Dr. Aaron Jedrabena here, program convener of the Asia Pacific Pathways to Progress, and also an associate fellow of the Philippine Council for Foreign Relations. And we will talk about the much heralded Belt and Road Initiative of China. What is this Belt and Road Initiative of China?
So the Belt and Road Initiative is a very big deal right now, sir, in China as an economic initiative. Well, sir, it's basically a regional integration project now comprised of more than 60 countries.
60 countries.
More than 60 countries, sir. Yeah. So, and it aims to integrate, sir, the regions of Africa, Asia, Europe through soft and hard infrastructure, sir.
Okay.
Yeah. So basically, it aims to achieve this sphere of confluence, sir, between the regions that I mentioned through a wide variety of areas. And these are mainly in 5 areas, sir. First is policy coordination, sir.
Okay.
The integration of policies, China's policies with the host country's domestic policy. You have financial integration and connectivity.
Okay.
Third would be infrastructure development.
Which is the impression of most BRI
Exactly, sir. So many people, when you say the BRI, oh, it's about
infrastructure.
hard infrastructure, the physical infrastructure.
So it's not just physical infrastructure?
It's not, sir. The BRI is not just about that.
So you have policy coordination?
Yes, sir.
Financial coordination, integration.
Yes, sir, integration, trade and investment, sir. Infrastructure and people-to-people ties and connectivity, sir. These are the 5 major components, sir, of the BRI.
With China leading all of this.
Exactly.
So
yes.
This is the counterpart to to the U.S. influence in the world. Can you call that as it is?
I guess so. We can. They want to promote their own positive influence to the world on their own terms. Yeah.
And you wrote a paper recently. It says the complex interdependence of China's Belt and Road Initiative in the Philippines.
Yes,
what do you mean by complex interdependence?
So before I define complex interdependence, we must first focus on interdependence.
Okay.
And interdependence, sir, basically means mutual dependence.
Okay.
And this could be in one aspect, economic interdependence. Mostly, this is about economic interdependence, sir. So when we say complex interdependence, sir, this now includes both economic and social interdependence.
Okay.
So meaning, sir, we include people-to-people ties. Those 5 areas of components of the BRI, we can say that those fall under, sir, the complex interdependence, because you talk about private and public stakeholders, and you talk about a wide variety of areas, but not the military, sir.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
that's
BRI
complex
does not
interdependence.
include the military aspect.
Does not, sir.
So the takeover of the territories in the South China Sea is not part of BRI?
They would not claim it to be.
They don't claim that to be okay, but
to be part of the BRI,
from
sir.
the Sino-skeptics, it's part of it.
Also, the Sino-skeptics, sir, they're skeptical about, because, sir, the Belt and Road has 2 parts. I mean, has 2 components. You have the land-based
the Silk Road
economic belt, and you have the sea-based or the seaborne
the maritime Silk Road.
And the maritime Silk Road, sir, passes through the South China Sea. So maybe for the strategic analysts, sir, they're wary about China having more presence in the South China Sea. But for us, sir, who wants to look at the BRI as merely a pragmatic, positive endeavor, we should not allow it to be so.
Okay. So there's been comparison about China's BRI with Japan's regional leadership role before you have the flying geese model of economic development during the 1980s. So
during the 80s.
Is there really, can you really compare what China is doing now to what Japan did in the 1980s?
Actually, sir, that analogy really has basis, because in the 80s, Japan was really like the leader, sir, in heading in constructing a regional supply chain. Okay. But now, sir, it seems to be China that's heading the creation of a new regional supply chain. Okay. Or China, sir, is making it easier for countries in the region to trade and cooperate with each other through hard and soft infrastructure. So I guess in this sense, sir, China is assuming already a leadership role.
Okay. Yes. In the region.
In the region, sir.
But the skeptics see it as a neo-imperial project of China. What can you say about this?
Well, I guess in any endeavor, sir, there's always a tendency to, too much of something is bad, sir. Yeah.
Okay.
So if the Chinese overplay their hand and really made it seem like they're dominating all countries and all industries, then all these countries would be so dependent on them. And if these countries are so dependent on them, they wouldn't have so much influence or so much control. So we should make it really, as the Chinese say, so it should be a mutual benefit. It should be what they call in Chinese, 双赢. 双赢 meaning win-win.
Okay.
We should make we should make this project live up to that.
Okay. And are you positive that this will live up to that?
Well, it takes two to tango, sir. The Chinese effort, but also our effort. We take the case, sir, the example of, we take the case of Sri Lanka.
Okay.
In the case of Sri Lanka, sir, much of the blame was borne by China. Because, they did not, they did not...
this is the port in...
the port, sir, in Sri Lanka, Hambantota.
Okay.
Maybe, sir, that's true, that the Chinese did overlook certain things.
Okay.
But it would not have happened if the Sri Lankan government
so
also, conducted perhaps due diligence or proper oversight. So, it's both ways, sir.
Yeah, but what happened in Sri Lanka, contributed to the more negative perception against China. So
that is true.
The death trap.
The death trap.
So some countries are wary about really engaging with China, and we see that, for example, Malaysia, they're reviewing some of their projects under the BIR with China. So what can you say about this?
Well, actually, sir, I would say that China is facing two major challenges. The first one, sir, is that they should not really engage in bad projects or not viable, commercially viable projects. And second is that I think they also have to have a better PR strategy.
Yes.
I would guess.
Actually,
and this is where the West is really good at. Sir,
yeah, they lack the charm offensive.
Well, they should. They can change, sir. They can change through their actions and their media mileage, sir.
Yes.
Something that they could change.
Do you think at this point, do you think they really should engage in more charm offensive, right? Because of the negative perceptions about Chinese influence. They
really should, sir. First, sir, they really have to make sure that... Actually, they've also done many successful projects, sir. For example, in Africa, in Kenya. But sometimes it's really the bad projects taking so much of the coverage, and so therefore making them look really bad.
You talk about the fifth dimension of the BRI, the people to
people. People to people, yes, sir.
Do you think this should really form part of the charm offensive? Do you think they're really doing enough for this one?
Well, sir, actually, from what I know, sir, the Chinese are organizing so many exchanges, every year. They host so many academics, sir, so many think tanks. They do university partnerships, faculty exchanges, student exchanges, everything, sir. So I think this is their way, sir, of promoting, China to the world. As much as possible, sir. Even actually encountered, sir, that some high school students were even being invited to go to China at such an early age, sir. So I think it's their way of engaging young stakeholders to get a feel, to really get to know and understand China.
Okay.
The modern China.
Okay, we will talk more about RP and China relationships within the frame of the Belt and Road Initiative when ASEAN in Focus Weekend Edition returns.
I'm Ariel.
And I'm Kenneth. And we're your new hosts for The Break Room.
So please watch us every Monday at 7:30 to 8 in the evening. We are one with 25.
Ano ang kahulugan ng tagumpay para kay Ray PJ Abellana?
Ito yung magbibigay ng pakiramdam sa iyo na isang masaya at masarap na pakiramdam. Kung saan ka naging successful, nakapag-accomplish ka ng maganda, ng mabuti, na ikinatutuwa at kinapapasalamat na ibang tao, yan po ang feeling nun. Yung good feeling na ibibigay sa iyo ng success, mga bagay na successful.
So kapag ka ikaw ay nakakapagbigay ng kasiyahan sa ibang tao, successful ka.
Yes.
Very well said.
Ito po si Ray PJ Abellana. Abangan po ninyo ako ngayong Sabado sa RYTS Rule Yourself to Success. Dito lang sa Net 25.
Tinapay, 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 isigaw na. Nanong tinapay, parisal.
News, Linggo, alas 4 hanggang alas 5 ng hapon.
Okay, we're back with an interview with Dr. Aaron Jedrabena here. When we're still talking about the Belt and Road Initiative. And this time we will talk about the Belt and Road Initiative in China's foreign policy. The Belt and Road Initiative is, of course, this is drawn from the epic ancient Silk Road of China before. And it was formally announced in 2013. And they have this big gathering which was attended, among others, by President Duterte.
Yes, sir. President Duterte was in attendance. 2 years ago, I believe. Sir.
Okay, so it was it's a way of China's another major show for China opening up to the world. So what can you say about that? Yeah. What can you say about that?
Well, sir, I guess firstly, sir, with respect to President Duterte's attendance to the Belt and Road Summit, I think it's a proof, sir. It's a manifestation that we really are part of the Belt and Road Initiative.
Yeah.
Because I think during the time of President Aquino, many were speculating whether we are a member or not, sir.
Yeah, I've seen many maps of China's Belt and Road Initiative, and the Philippines is not part of that. It's not part of those maps that I've seen. So has there been an update of those maps?
That's true, sir. In the initial maps, I mean, we're not there, sir. It doesn't pass through. The routes doesn't cover us. But in the succeeding maps, sir, we are already covered.
Oh, they should show us that map now. I haven't seen that map yet.
Okay, yeah. I will send you, sir.
Okay, okay. This BRI, Belt and Road Initiative,
right,
okay, is part of a policy agenda of Xi Jinping, the Community of Shared Future for Mankind. So what can you say about this?
Well, sir, when we talk about, sir, the China's foreign policy agenda under President Xi Jinping, his main vision is really, actually, it's like a repackaged version of the previous Chinese president's foreign policy agenda. Right now, sir, under President Xi, he wants to achieve a community of shared future for mankind. What this means, sir, is that states, regardless of political systems, cultures, and values, should cooperate. In fact, everyone should all initiatives, sir, must be inclusive. And this is actually, sir, the reason why you notice that in the wake of the trade war, sir, with the U.S., China kept on preaching about openness,
Yes.
the multilateral trading system, liberalization.
Yeah.
It seems like it's the other way
A
around
complete
now.
contrast to what the U.S. has been saying before, and now it's the U.S. is closing its economy to the
Yes,
rest
because
of the world.
the current circumstances are favoring China already. So they want it to continue. Yes, sir. And one of the tools they think this could continue, sir, is through the BRI.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Because with BRI, sir, it's all-encompassing, as I said, sir, except the military.
Okay.
You engage many countries simultaneously, and it covers so many areas, sir. And that's what China wants, sir. To increase that level of interdependence, the depth of interdependence.
Okay.
Because if the depth of interdependence sir, is so deep, I mean, why would you fight with a country with which you have so much at stake with?
Economic relations.
Exactly, sir. You would think twice, and you would rather, I mean, explore other options.
And it says here that the BRI operates on the principles of open consultations,
Yes, sir.
joint contribution, and mutual benefit. When do you
Right, sir.
think this is really happening? Open consultations.
Actually, it's very good you raised this, sir, because I would say in this paper, sir, not in all cases.
Okay.
Because there are cases where China claims that unilaterally that this is a BRI project.
Okay. Yes.
But to the host country, it's not a BRI project. So I think this is where China has to be clear on, sir. What really constitutes a BRI project,
Okay.
and what does not. Because well, for us, sir, I think it would help in labeling which projects are BRI projects, because we can really track the progress on them.
Okay.
So-
And then joint contribution. When you say joint contribution, so there should be.
There can be partnerships, sir.
Okay.
Yes, partnerships, sir, with the Chinese government and with our industries or with our firms.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
And then the third principle is mutual benefit. So the benefits have to be clear.
Exactly,
for
sir.
both
And it
countries.
should not only be for one party, sir.
Yes.
Yes, yeah.
Okay. And it says here, the PRI should not be interpreted as an initiative that only involves the Chinese government or its state-owned
That's true,
enterprises.
sir, yes.
Can this be achieved? I mean,
Because
when you
actually,
see the
sir,
Chinese government is everywhere, so how can this not be an
well,
initiative
actually,
of
sir,
Chinese government?
I also could not blame the many people why when we talk about China, everything is state-owned.
Yes.
China is a monolithic country, and the Communist Party controls everything.
Yes.
Actually, right now, sir, there's so many private corporations already in China. So not all companies are state-owned, sir.
Yeah,
So when
but
we-
these private corporations operate because of state, the state allows them.
Exactly, sir. The state provides the environment, a
Okay.
conducive environment. They help and expand their markets.
Okay.
Yes, but what I mean is that the state is leading the coordination, sir, between the state-led efforts and the private sector. So that's what's happening right now, sir. So that's why you see, sir, companies like Jack Ma, Alibaba, sir,
yes,
Alibaba, and some other companies, sir. They report, they conduct reports on their BRI, the BRI gains, the profits.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So they really participate. They know that they are part of the BRI initiative.
Yes, so they are part of the BRI, and they're going to countries that are members, sir, of the BRI.
It says here in your paper,
Yes, sir.
among the top 50 of the most involved in influential Chinese enterprises in the BRI, 42% are private and 56% are state-owned enterprises,
Yes, exactly.
and 2% are
Yeah.
joint ventures. So
That's right, sir.
do you see more?
So it's like a synergy, sir,
Yes,
that we are seeing, sir. So there's what I call here, sir, that China is employing a whole of country approach.
It's not just the government.
Not just the government, sir. And it's really a whole of country, sir, because they hit on so many dimensions. They try to penetrate, sir, each and every dimension of bilateral interaction.
Can you mention some of the success stories so far of the BRI? Of course, what is being bandied about is what happened in Sri Lanka, which is...
Well, these are the negative, the bad. Yeah, I guess the bad
Can you name
projects.
some positive
So I guess
experiences?
we can cite the showroom, or like the crown jewel of China's Belt and Road, and that would be the Pakistan, sir.
Okay.
The China-Pakistan Economic Corridor.
Okay.
Because of the 67 or almost 70 projects in that country, sir, more than 50 have already been negotiated and commenced.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they're ongoing.
They're ongoing,
The constructions
sir.
are ongoing.
Constructions
or
are
are they
ongoing.
operating already?
Some are operating
Some are
already,
operating.
sir. But of course, there will always be issues, sir, that the Chinese, I mean the Pakistanis have aborted certain projects. That may be true, sir, but that is just one of the so many. So we have to look at the statistics, sir. When we say, oh, this project is finished, we have to look at the entire picture, sir, the bigger context.
Okay, let's talk about the Malaysia.
Malaysia,
thing. What happened?
Well, sir, I guess I think we all know the reason why Prime Minister Mahathir opted to review the projects. Actually, sir, here's the thing. He said that these projects will be reviewed and delayed, but we have yet to see the projects that will actually be cancelled.
Okay.
So I think, sir, this can also be a strategy of Mahathir to compel the Chinese to come up
with better terms.
With better terms, yeah.
So it's an admission that some of the terms are not really, favorable to the partner government.
And it's part of the domestic politics, sir, the cleaning house that they want to do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, we will talk more about the Belt and Road Initiative, and this time we will talk about the BRI in the Philippines. The Nation in Focus Weekend Edition returns.
is our most important asset, and it should always be a constant effort to seek ways to take care of it. That includes professional medical help from the best available. The Manila-Beijing Medical Associated Incorporated is known as one of the most
Okay, we're back with our last portion of interview with Dr. Aaron Jedrabena here from the Philippine Council for Foreign Relations and the Asia-Pacific Pathways to Progress.
Yes, sir.
And right now we'll be talking about the BRI in the Philippines. And we were talking earlier, you said earlier that during the first, among the first maps released by the Chinese government for its BRI project, the Philippines is not part of the BRI project. But now you said it's now part of the BRI route.
Sir.
So
yes, sir. In the latter map, sir.
Okay, in the latter map. We have to see that.
Right, sir.
So what are some of these projects that are included in the BRI? Can you name some of these?
So I guess, I mean, sir, before we determine, sir, which are BRI projects, I think we have to understand, sir, that that the BRI has two main features, sir.
Okay.
One is that, sir, that the BRI has a feature that is silent, meaning, sir, that certain projects are not explicitly labeled as a BRI project,
yes.
but it appears in the Chinese big data report, sir, as a BRI project.
As long as it's funded by China, so it's part of the BRI.
Yes, sir, it is funded by China and has Chinese participation. They will qualify, sir, as a BRI project. And second, sir, of course, would be the express.
Okay.
I mean, the consensus between the two governments that this project is a BRI project. In our case, sir, because I noticed that in China's big data report, they have listed so many infrastructure projects. Then I compared it with the kind of Chinese projects here in the Philippines. I noticed, sir, that there are many parallels.
Okay.
And these projects, sir, are hard infrastructure or physical infrastructure projects.
So these are mostly infrastructure projects, physical infrastructure projects.
Yes, sir. If we talk about, as I said, sir, the BRI has 5 dimensions.
Yes, yes.
And this would fall under the infrastructure dimension, sir. Yeah.
Okay.
So in this area, sir, we have certain projects that have already commenced.
Okay.
For example, sir, the Chico River
pump irrigation project in Cagayan province.
It has already broken ground, sir.
It says here $72.49 million.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
That's, that much, sir. And another project, sir, that has already commenced is the Pasig Rivers.
Okay, bridge.
The bridges.
The bridges over Pasig River.
The Pasig River. yeah.
Bridge over Pasig River. Okay. I think
right.
there's two.
There's two, sir.
Okay.
Yeah.
There are 2 projects there.
And these are gratis, sir. Yeah.
Oh, gratis.
Yeah, that's right, sir.
Okay.
By the Chinese government.
Okay.
And
it says here there are 2 baskets of loans. Okay. One of them is the first basket. You mentioned earlier the Chico River pump irrigation project. And the new Centennial Water Source Kaliwa Dam project in Quezon Province.
This dam, sir, Kaliwa Dam, will be signed, I believe, early next year, sir.
Okay.
But with the visit, sir, of President Xi this month, the Bicol, the Manila Bicol,
the South Line, the North-South Railway project.
Yes, sir, will be signed.
Okay.
In his visit here.
Okay.
Yeah.
We really need to reopen that route, the Manila Bicol.
Yes, sir. Actually, sir, recently some updates on that. Our government officials said that a lot of progress has been made. Many areas have already been cleared, and this will really promote, sir, connectivity in Luzon, sir. Yeah, this will expedite a lot of economic activity.
And then says here, there's the second basket of loans. Among these is the 70 kilometers Subic Clear Railway. So they're
right,
building
sir.
a railway.
Regarding this one, sir,
Subic
this one I think was supposed to be signed also, sir, with President Xi's visit.
Okay.
But I think both sides, sir, decided to delay it.
Why?
So I think they're working on some technical...
Need for more studies?
Study perhaps, and technicalities. But what they said, sir, is that it will be signed early next year.
Okay.
Perhaps first quarter next year, sir.
And then the Davao City Expressway, of course, this is a pet project of the President.
Yes,
and the Panay Guimaras Negros Inter-Island Bridge. Wow, a bridge
very
connecting
ambitious.
these three islands in the Philippines.
Right, sir. Very ambitious projects.
So you mentioned some of this will be signed next year. So because they still have to iron out some details.
That's right.
This may have brought about the impression that no project has been implemented yet, because some things are still being reviewed at this point in time.
Well, actually, like I said, sir, I mean, some projects have already broken ground. So I guess it's just really a matter of time before all the projects start rolling.
So you can say to the skeptics that these are rolling actually, but
there are
some delays.
Yeah, some delays, and those that have already rolled, sir, are not really publicized. So we have to also be aware as to which projects have already made progress. Yeah.
But there's still this issue that the interest rates of some of these loans are, way above standards. What can you say about this?
Well, so yeah, a lot of people say that it's relatively high, especially so if you compare it with the interest rates from
Japan.
That Japan offers.
Okay.
But actually, sir, when you talk about some would also argue, sir, that when you talk about the actual cost, the actual cost of the Japanese projects are more,
bigger.
But the interest rates are low. In the case of China, the actual cost is lower, but the interest rates are higher. So, maybe if we do the math, sir, perhaps they're not really, the gap is really not that big.
Yeah, but why can't,
and Japan, sir, is a developed country already. And,
but isn't China is now the world's second biggest economy, so don't you think they can really afford to give us
sir,
better rates?
Also, actually, they're working on that. But as our government planners mentioned, sir, we need them all.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think China's the interest rates that China offers, sir, is still relatively lower, sir, compared to the commercial rates.
World Bank.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, are you positive that we won't be entering a debt trap here?
Well, we should not, sir. That's why we really have to conduct proper oversight, sir, and due diligence in all projects.
So, we talk about the infrastructure project, and there are also projects. There are also other products coming from China. You mentioned earlier the entrance of China in Philippine consumer market through private mobile firms,
yes, sir,
such
private
as
mobile firms.
Huawei, Xiaomi.
We see more
Oppo,
Filipinos
and
are buying these products,
Yeah.
and their marketing efforts are really aggressive. They get the most popular actors and actresses to endorse their brands. Yeah.
Do you think Chinese products can really compete with the more established brands? Because impressions, still impressions. So when you say
like
China,
Apple,
made in China, it's
substandard,
it's substandard.
cheap.
So do you think that's still true today?
Well, I guess right now, sir, it's starting to change because their market share, of these Chinese brands have started to become larger, sir. So I think that is the one manifestation that the Philippine perception towards China or Chinese products, sir, is changing.
Okay, so we see here the contribution of China to the Philippine economy, which is really expanding.
That's right, sir.
But still, we should not forget the other issue.
We have disputes.
So what can you say about
the
that? Although of course,
security issues.
Although of course, President Duterte once said that our relationship with China should not be characterized by this conflict in the South China Sea.
Right.
It should not be at the front and center of our relationship. But still, it's there.
It's there, sir.
And we're talking here of territories. Which are being claimed by China.
Like the non-negotiables.
These are the non-negotiables. So, where should this be now?
Well, actually, sir, there's many ways of managing this, and I would say, sir, that the President Duterte's foreign policy, right now, seems to be paying off, sir. Because if we look at his strategy, sir, it's not just a legal strategy.
Okay.
It's a foreign policy strategy that includes so many areas: the economic dimension, the diplomatic dimension, defense and security. And right now, sir, we see we receive now weapons, sir, coming from Russia and China.
Okay.
The Americans are continuing to give, sir. So we are getting more. So we now seem to be friends to all, sir. Right? I think that's what the president is trying to do. Try to balance or equibalance our relationship with all the major powers. And right now, so we have not lost any of our occupied islands in the South China Sea. We have not, sir. And so we have diverted the tension, sir, to convergence.
How optimistic are you that this policy will continue after the Duterte administration?
Well, sir, that really depends on, that's really a variable, sir. Who will succeed him? Will it be from another party?
Yes.
A rival party? Because, many leaders in our country, sir, even those in the opposition, they have a different framing of a China policy or a South China Sea strategy.
But you feel that our present interjective relationship with China should continue beyond this term, beyond this administration?
Well, it should, sir. But I mean, as I would say, sir, that it doesn't just depend on us. It would also depend on how China would behave in the South China Sea. It's a two-way process, sir. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much, Dr.
Thank you,
Aaron.
Sir Kaloy.
And,
Pleasure, sir.
Okay, and we hope to invite you again in one of our future episodes.
Sure, sir.
Okay, that's all, folks, for today. And I'm Kaloy Tabunda, and I'm 1 with 25.